Awesome. Thank you so much. Hey, everybody. I'm Kate Ellison. I am the recruiter over at Saltzer Health, or for Saltzer Health, rather. I work for a company called Talent Fill. Like I said, we provide all recruiting sources for Saltzer. We have had a partnership for over a year and a half, and excitingly have hired over 130 people, even in just the last few months, because Saltzer continues to grow at a crazy rate. One thing that makes Saltzer, I think, very unique, as you've probably seen if you've noticed the buildings everywhere and the billboards everywhere, Saltzer's growing throughout the whole entire community. It's not just, one section. It's Caldwell all the way even to Southeast Boise right now. So lots going on. I will attempt actually to share my screen right now so I can show a few things to you. So can you see that? Can you see my medical specialties page? I sure hope so. Like I said, lots going on. We have specialties, everything from family practice, midwifery, pediatrics, behavioral health, eye care, even gastroenterology, sleep medicine. So all sorts of things going on at Saltzer. One of the cool things I have learned in working with them is, I'm not really working for them as their recruiter, from another company. I'm part of the team. So I work extremely closely with everybody. I work very closely with the leadership team, getting everybody in the door. And so it's really exciting to be part of the growth. One thing, a couple things actually that make Saltzer very unique. We have a very great partnership with a company called True Care. It allows patients to have access to their health records. So you have everything from, you can look up providers that you know and trust, find rates for things, have access to your records, all sorts of information. Saltzer's been part of Crush the Curve, so I can show you a little bit of that. That started early in the spring, as you all know, when COVID hit. Lots of companies got to jump in and be a part of that, including Saltzer. It was really fun. We were hiring phlebotomists at an insane rate over weekends, setting up tents in the rain. I remember that was quite chaos, but great to be a part of that and support the community. Some of you might be aware, as you're getting ready to enter the job market, as I know you'll be graduating soon. If you've been doing research or even just reading things going on, Saltzer was acquired recently by Intermountain Healthcare. They are a leading healthcare provider in Utah and Nevada. And it's provided its challenges, certainly in the sense that it's kind of slowed some things down. It's also sped some things up, but they're a great company. They've been super supportive and remain supportive of every single initiative we have in mind. As I've said, the construction going on. Oh, I think we have somebody in, we'll admit that person. Anyway, lots of things. Let me show you actually. Here is a video that I'd love to share, hope you don't mind, addressing all the growth.
The Saltzer Health Urgent Care at 10 Mile is the first 24/7 urgent care in the state of Idaho. And get this, it is ACLS driven. That means all of our staff members, including our providers, have ACLS training, which will allow them to provide a higher level of care to all of our patients.
The urgent care offers a good alternative to seeking acute medical care, especially if it's not an emergency. For most medical conditions, we can handle them here in urgent care.
Although all of our urgent cares were designed with the basic same format, you'll see that this urgent care has 1,400 square feet larger than the smaller urgent cares. Take a look around the lobby. It's absolutely stunning, bright and open, with tons of space, 3 large private sitting rooms for all of our patients to utilize. And in the back, it's just the urgent care. So because we have this higher skill set, we wanted larger rooms and we wanted more rooms. So this is not a site that's shared with family practice in the urgent care. It is strictly urgent care. And that's going to allow us to have those higher volumes of patients with those higher needs.
Our team is amazing. We have really good providers as well as nurses, all the way down to the greeters that will greet you at the front door. So all in all, our group is fun and they train hard and they're really dedicated to their profession.
Word of mouth about Saltzer is out. The skill set required here and the vision of Saltzer with the transparency of cost and the higher level of patient care has gotten out to the community. And I receive emails frequently from highly qualified staff members that want to come work for Saltzer.
When we're representing Saltzer, we're representing healthcare in the Valley, and we want to earn that trust and that reputation. I think more so the trust than anything really is what matters to us. You know, if we can take somebody's bad day or worst day and stabilize it and, you know, let them know that's going to be okay and get them the care that they need, then, I mean, that's why anybody gets into healthcare.
I was an ER nurse for 20 years, and during those 20 years, I saw patients come in all the time with lower acuity complaints that didn't have any options. There was no place else to go because all the urgent cares were closed. So now that Saltzer Health is going to be open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we are here to provide those patients with a place to go with lower costs and lower wait times.
Wonderful. I hope you all have heard that. I've been in numerous Zoom classes. I'm also a student actually at Boise State, and I do know the challenges of being on the receiving end of a presentation and not always seeing what the people intend. Now to actually be on the presenter side is a whole new thing. So bear with me on those. But anyway, that's just one thing we have going on. You know, it's a big deal to open a 24-hour urgent care. It has certainly been a very enjoyable challenge. You know, it's one thing to backfill and to find people to fill roles. It's a whole other thing when you're trying to build a team from the ground up, right? So really exciting. There's night shift opportunities. And for those of you, you know, who are interested in the fast-paced environment of the urgent care, please reach out and I'll give you information on that down the line. Stacy, actually, the main one who was talking, she is our hiring manager for every single urgent care across the community. Very hands-on, wonderful, and invested in her team and the success of her team members. But anyway, that's just, like I said, one brief thing going on. Based on that, you saw a few people talking, some of the providers talking. I can tell you from experience in this fast-paced recruiting adventure that we've been on, the Saltzer leadership team are some of the most down-to-earth, hardworking people I've ever met. They advocate for our new hires when I ask them for pay rate adjustments, you know, all sorts of information. We're excited to get people in the door. It's definitely a teamwork effort to be part of that. And to, again, provide not only their patients, but their employees and their team success and, you know, support. So moving forward, there's some other things I want to tell you. Like I said, Saltzer was acquired by IHC recently. It's only been wonderful that we have all this growth, all this opportunity. Other things, because, you know, this is exciting to me. When I first started, Saltzer has so many locations, so many that say now open, now open, now open. Scroll down to everything that's already existing, coming soon for so many. You know, if you're looking at jobs and if you live in certain parts of town, we accommodate that. I know not everybody wants to commute on the freeway every day from one corner to the other. So we do keep that in mind. Other things I can tell you, you know, as we've ramped up our hiring, like I said, 130 people in the past 6 months. One of the wonderful things we've been able to do is cut down, you know, the time to fill. So ultimately that means for you guys as applicants, you know, you apply, we reach out, we get the conversation started. You know, our interviews I think are fun. We try to make them engaging. We want you to feel relaxed and like yourself. I certainly talk like this. I'm excited to talk to people and engage. You know, we want to find that right fit. So we've cut down our time by 2 weeks, you know, to get people in the door, to get them in quickly, to have that interview. You know, I know it's nerve-wracking when you apply and then you wait to hear back, and then you have maybe another interview, and then you wait to hear if you got the job. So we keep all of that in mind when we get you in the door. So we try to make that as great of an experience as possible. Other things, and like I said, if you ever want to reach out to me, you can go to the Saltzer Health career page. It's the tab on the very end. Lots of opportunities and all sorts of things. So keep those in mind and tell your friends. But the main part is I'm in the bottom left corner. Kate Ellison, recruiter. There's an email address. There's a phone number. It comes directly to me. So if you ever have questions, you want to learn more about Saltzer, you want to learn more about hours, opportunities, requirements for jobs, the status of your application, please reach out. You know, it's what, you know, it's you apply for jobs. It's not really the same, I guess, as back in the day when you were told to drop your resume off in person, and certainly with COVID, probably don't want to. But I love a friendly face, or a friendly voice rather, when somebody reaches out to learn what their status is. Other things I can tell you, if you do want to connect with me on LinkedIn, right here, you can find me, always ask questions that way. And then ultimately, Saltzer's website has a ton of information. But I believe that is everything. Sorry if I shared everything really fast. And if you have questions, I am sure we will get to those at the end. Anything else?
Thank you so much, Kate. Do any students have any questions in the chat or want to unmute yourself to ask? If not, after St. Alphonsus, we will have an opportunity to ask those questions. So start sitting on those and start thinking about what you'd like to know from Kate and the Saltzer team. I'd like to turn it over to Chris and Chris from St. Alphonsus.
Hello, thank you guys for having us. I will share my screen. It's like my pet peeve in video conferences. Can everyone see my screen? But you just got to ask it. So can everyone see my screen?
No.
No?
No, we cannot see your screen right now, unfortunately.
All right.
That's why we asked.
Well,
all right.
That's why you got to ask, you know? Oh, I didn't hit share. Boom.
There you go. Now it's working.
Okay, there we go. So as Kelsey mentioned, my name is Chris Skidmore, and my colleague on the line is also Chris. She is Chris Richards. We're both senior talent acquisition partners with St. Alphonsus, both on the nurse recruitment team. I have been with St. Al's for about a year. I was on the physician recruitment side of things and then moved over to the nurse recruitment side maybe 5 months ago. So still trying to, you know, get a good understanding of the nurse recruitment process here at St. Al's. But have some other experience in healthcare recruitment at some other organizations in the Valley. So, Chris, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Sure. Thank you all for attending tonight and for your potential interest in our GN residency program. This is my third class of GNs, and I have to say it's my just most favorite part of my job is starting those RN careers. And so, you know, we're celebrating those milestones with our nurses. We hire you before you've passed your NCLEX, before you have your license, and then we're just like bringing you into our system. We're trying to match you up with your dream job and the unit that you're interested in. You know, we look across our system and we have 4 hospitals. And I mean, last night, just one of the GMs texted me, I passed my NCLEX. So it's pretty exciting. So we're excited about you. We're excited to get you into our system and get those baby nurses to work.
Thanks, Chris. So we'll give a quick overview of St. Alphonsus, who we are, who we report to, and then we'll talk about our graduate nurse residency program, as well as what to expect when it does come time to interview and potentially accept a job offer. So St. Alphonsus is owned by Trinity Health. It's the largest multi-institutional Catholic healthcare delivery systems in the nation. That's quite the mouthful. And they're based in Michigan. We have 92 hospitals across 22 states, about 130 colleagues across the country, serving 33 million people. It truly is an organization that is behind the mission and values of the organization. Specifically at St. Al's, one of the coolest things when I first started is I found out that we have a nun that is, you know, part of our leadership team, and she is really, really driven on the mission and the values. And I mean, if there's something or a decision that needs to be made and it doesn't line up and she says no, it's not happening. So she truly keeps the organization on course, and it's a cool little aspect to have in our leadership team. Some of our locations specifically for St. Alphonsus, we have 4 hospitals, medical centers in Idaho and Oregon, as well as 80 plus clinics across that geography. Our Boise campus, as many of you probably know, is the level 2 trauma center, which is the highest level in Idaho, I believe. So we're big in ICU and trauma and critical care, but we also are really supportive about every other unit as well, because we need all to really make the hospital run. So our GN residency program, I will turn it over to Chris.
All right, thank you. So our residency program has been in place for many years, and we keep fine tuning it, but we offer it at all facilities in our health system, so all 4 hospitals, and it gives you, as a graduate nurse, the structure that you need, the orientation, the preceptorship, the support, the camaraderie to help you succeed as you start your nursing program. I mean, nursing is a really big job. I'm not a nurse, but my daughter's a nurse. And it's a big job. Your first couple of shifts at work, you're seeing it with your practicals and your right now in your clinicals. So it's a big job. So we want to make sure that you have extra support and encouragement. We also do have some monthly courses and workshops that we offer where you will have access to experts, and even more importantly, you'll have access to our nursing community within our system where you can get that encouragement and that support, and you can see that you're not alone. Other people have had the same concerns and excitement. So you can really build that sense of team within our organization. And then you also have the opportunity to participate in some of our committees within our organization. So that can bring in best practices. Another reason why we love new nurses is that you also are exposed to some of the most recent research. And so you bring that knowledge and that enthusiasm with you to us. So how our program is structured is that you will have 2 weeks of new hire orientation, and that's our hospital-wide orientation. And then you will break out into the unit that you're hired into for 8 to 10 weeks. Some of it just depends on the experiences that you bring into the unit and what unit you are hired into, but you are paired with a preceptor, so you have a nice long runway, I guess, until you're on your own. And then each month we will have these interactive seminars on different topics within your field, which are offered numerous times to be flexible for your schedule. And they're facilitated by people who are professionals in our system who are great resources to you. And then you'll also have a chance to get to know them, like I said, interact with them and interact with other people too that are in your cohort. So we're very excited about the different units that we hire our graduate nurses into. So you can see for spring, all the units in our Boise hospital and our Napa hospitals, and then also in our Ontario and Baker City, Oregon hospitals. And so I do want to point out that we've added emergency, which is an extremely popular unit to try to get hired onto, and also OR, so main OR and day surgery and surgery prep and recovery. So we are offering some courses and some training that are the equivalent of the perioperative 101. So very exciting. And then nurse to patient ratios, we have 1 to 5 or 6. That's obviously going to depend on the unit that you're hired for. We do get a lot of questions from nurses and graduates as they're interested in, and maybe you're interested in a unit that we don't have listed here. So that's like L&D sometimes is difficult to find a position in without experience. I can say that we always give hiring preference in terms of internal transfers to nurses who are already in our system. We do like to see you be on your job for about 12 months. So, keep that in mind. But, where you see float pool, that's another great place to start on our clinical support team, because you will, if you're not entirely sure where you would like to have your area of expertise be, it's a great place to go and get exposure to several different units. I talk to nurses every day, as does Chris, and I always am inspired by nurses that are like, I didn't know I wanted to be an OR nurse, or I had no idea that, ED was going to be my thing. And so that's the great part of your career, is just it's so flexible. There's lots of opportunities. And so come to St. Al's and we'll take care of you and grow your career. Lots of options. All right, well, let's talk about money, because that's pretty important. So our pay scale is based on your level of education and how many years you've worked as a nurse. And so you can see that the BSN comes in at a higher rate of pay than the associate's degree, but we hire both. And so I know sometimes some candidates will bring rumors, and I know this doesn't apply to Boise State, but we do definitely hire both the BSN and the associates. And so, and you can kind of see our pay scale there. So the pay scale can be a little lower. Let's see, well, it's about the same across the system, a little higher in Baker City. So, and the asterisk there is just pointing out that in Oregon, we do have a union in those hospitals. And so the wage there is set by the bargaining agreements. I can tell you that in terms of benefits and shift pay and on-call pay, that the unions are definitely to the employees' benefit. We also have shift differentials. And so and I'm sure Chris can say this is true too, but when we talk to nurses from different markets, their feeling is that our shift differentials are pretty generous. So, and we also have in some of our units, some nurses who love that night shift on the weekend, because you can see it's adding $6.45 more per hour. So I also want to point out what's not on here is that in our float pool for our Boise hospital is after you're fully brought up to speed in the float pool, in addition to the shift differentials, you would also be eligible for a 4% addition to your base rate just for being flexible enough to float to different units. So that's something to keep in mind too.
Chris, may I ask a question about the pay?
Sure.
Is the base rate, is that reflective of what you would start off doing your residency? Or is that after the first year?
Nope, that is your base rate when you come into the residency. So we pay you the same as every other, good question, but we'll pay you the same as every other nurse. So yeah, that's what you come in our system. Another thing that we do have, in addition to a great benefits package, is, and other things that can kind of make a difference on your base rate, is we have clinical ladders. And so nurses, as you continue in your career, you can add different competencies to your career, and you create a customized plan with your manager. It's optional. It might be a little overwhelming to jump right off and start that process, but you can earn your RN 3, 4, and 5, and that also adds to your base rate. And then in our system, you would be eligible for a performance-based bonus every year, and that can be another 2 or 3%. And that's based on just how an employee is doing achieving their goals and how the organization is performing financially overall. So that's just another way that you can add money to your base pay. Okay, so how to apply. So we already have this position posted on our website, so you can actually review it now and apply now, or you can wait a little closer to the deadline when you get all of your materials together. So you'll actually apply with your resume and your cover letter. And then once you are screened, you'll also get a link to fill out and provide references. And so those are references of people who've been like clinical instructors or preceptors to you. And then you'll also be asked to fill out a survey that will ask you to rank of all the units that we have that are hiring, what your preferences are, starting with 1 going all on through. And we make every effort to secure an interview for you with the hiring manager for the units that you prefer. So we like to make those dreams come true. All right, so, and also just so you know, our interview day is March 26th. It's on a Friday. We are continuing in COVID land, so we are continuing to do video interviews. And so, like I said, we will definitely make every attempt to get you an interview with the hiring manager for the unit that you prefer. We encourage you to note that the deadline to apply is March 14th at midnight. And so it's just important that you apply as soon as you can. And then obviously, if you are interested in our Oregon hospitals and our 2 places there, the interview dates would vary. And then a lot of times we're able to make offers that same night for some units and some positions, or within 2 weeks. And so you should know relatively quickly whether you have an offer in our residency. And then we start working with you on start dates. And so some of those start dates are just based on, it might be based on unit need, or it might be based on when you're taking your NCLEX and whether you can get started on a temp license while you're waiting to take your NCLEX, if that works for you or not. And then we just ask that you request that temporary RN license as soon as you can from the Idaho Board of Nursing.
And I think the only thing that I want to note with the unit rankings, especially with the ED, I mean, half of the applications that come in are going to rank ED as their first choice. And so I think just as a candidate, having some realistic expectations about whether that's going to pan out, because the ED is also one that doesn't hire as many as most of the other units. I want to say that we only hired 2 or 3 in our last cohort. And we probably had to send, quite a few candidates to maybe their second or third choice. So just keep that in mind when you are filling out your ranking. Again, as Chris said, we do everything that we can to give you your first, but if your first is the most popular of units, then it might not work out. So I think that's it.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Another thing I just want to emphasize too is that, if you're interested in a unit that's not on our list, that we're not hiring specifically to, or like Chris mentioned, you're not able to get your first choice, we really are trying for those second choices. But I know that I have been seeing quite a few of our internal GNs who started not quite a year ago, but many of them, over the course of not quite a year, have been able to secure their positions that they really wanted, either in ED or L&D. It's just they come in on a different unit and just been rock stars and just learning their skills, and then making that connection and interviewing for that dream job. And so in fact, I offered an ED position this week, and the person, the GN, had been in our system not quite a year, but she's like, I'm gonna cry, you just made my dream come true. So Chris and I live for these moments, so we want to encourage you to just come in, work hard, and grow your career with us.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris and Chris. And I think we have a question in the chat bar, actually. Mackenzie's asking,
Yeah.
is the GN residency program different than the acute critical care residency program?
Yeah, so one of the really great things that Alphonsus has to offer is the critical care nurse residency, which we offer twice a year. We are starting our next cohort, I believe February 15th, and we hired 15 people for that, both internal and external. They have the opportunity to be hired into one of our critical care units specifically, or our critical care float pool. So in Boise, that's our ICU, our cardiac ICU, and our cardiovascular ICU. And then in Nampa, we have an ICU as well that we hire into. It is a different program, different application process and everything. We probably won't post that position again until May-ish, because they always start in February and August. So we'll typically post it a few months before that.
So if I'm graduating in December of 2021, should I apply for the 2022 February program?
Yes, and we'll have, I'm trying to think of how we did it this year. I believe that I had it posted in November, and then we interviewed in December, and then folks will start in February. So yes.
Perfect. And we have
I was looking at a few of these. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, you keep going.
Okay, no, I see a couple of questions in chat that I thought we could answer. So it says, how many applicants get into the program each year? So that can vary a little bit, kind of depending on need. I can tell you that this last winter cohort, which usually is a little bit smaller than spring, we had about 60. So we had about 60 graduate nurses who started with this class. And then it is offered every semester, so in spring and fall. And if you started working on a application, No, not necessarily. I mean, our goal generally is to hire nurses who are just graduating or maybe haven't worked as a nurse before, but sometimes we'll have people who apply who graduated before or maybe haven't worked as a nurse or graduated before, maybe they're working at a skilled nursing facility. We're trying to hire nurses. And so we're just gonna, if we don't think that you're gonna quite fit with our graduate nurse program, we're gonna try to match you up with another opening. So do not be discouraged. Apply, apply, apply.
Perfect. And then students, just so you guys know, you can either unmute yourself to ask a question to either St. Al's or Saltzer, or put it in the chat. And we still have 30-ish minutes. We can just keep going until we are out of questions.
I have another quick question. The two Chris's that work for St. Al's, do you guys also do applications and stuff for the acute care program?
I am not sure what program that is.
Are you talking about the critical care residency?
The critical care residency, sorry.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
it's okay.
I manage that one.
Yes.
Hi,
So
I had,
when were you saying that? Oh, sorry.
sorry,
When
you can
were you
go.
saying that? When were you saying that that gets posted for the critical care residency? Because I graduate in May of 2021.
May of 2021. I'll probably have it posted in April, May of 2021 because that residency won't start until August of 2021.
Okay.
I
And
guess
also just okay.
sorry. You were saying that there's a spring and fall cohort for the grad nurse residency.
Yes.
Yep.
So when does the fall one open?
So let's see, we opened the spring in January. We'll open the fall probably October. So, well, let's see, interviews will be in October. So we'll open it August, a couple months before. Yeah.
So if I was graduating fall of this year, would I apply to the fall one? Or
yes. So
okay.
Yeah, you would, if you're graduating, yes.
You're graduating in December?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
really confused with the date, so I just wanted to make sure that I don't miss it.
So spring, for the spring graduates, you'll want to apply now. For December graduates, you'll want to wait for the posting that'll come out probably in August because we did our interview event in October.
Okay, thank you.
How do we make sure that we get those postings and the information for the two different programs?
Well,
So
we do
we'll-
send them to your school, definitely.
We had a couple more questions in the chat bar. The shift differentials mentioned were 8-hour shifts. What nursing jobs would have an 8-hour shift in the evening or the night?
Okay,
So
good question. So go ahead.
We do it weird. I have worked for other organizations and they typically just have like a night differential that starts at 7 p.m. and runs all the way through the night. At Al's, we have an evening differential that starts at 3. But if you're working the night shift, then you will have 4 hours of evening shift differential. And then at 11 p.m., it'll transition to the night shift differential for the rest of your shift. It's slightly confusing, but that's how we do it.
Yeah, they're definitely 12-hour shifts.
Another question.
And then,
oh, did someone have one? Okay.
yeah,
Another.
also, I see Emily asked about nurse apprentice or CNA positions. So we always are looking for CNAs and nurse apprentices. So I would just encourage you to go on our website and apply. And also it's great. We, as I mentioned, we do give some preference to internal folks. And so if you're already working for us as a CNA, especially if you're lucky enough to work as a CNA on your dream unit. That's even better for you. And then you're already in our system. And so we love that.
Okay, thank you. I actually don't graduate till 2022, but yeah, I was hoping to apply as like a nurse apprentice. I got the certification as a nurse apprentice from the Idaho Board of Nursing. So I was just kind of looking over your website and was planning on applying to just a bunch of units. I don't know if you had any like information about it, because I honestly don't really know what the role like entails. And like how
So
long
here,
this
I'm going to put my, here's my email. So Emily, why don't you email me and then I will get you in touch with our recruiter for CNA. But if you can, we have CNAs just about on every unit in our hospitals. And so, and I know it's patient care, just lots of, it's a great experience for getting that just hands-on patient experience.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I had another question. What are some qualities that you guys look for in your new residents when you're going through the hiring process?
Chris, do you want to take that one or?
Okay.
Yeah.
We're both trying to be nice and not talk over each other. I like looking for people that have some kind of work experience, especially like a customer service type work experience. I know obviously you're not going to have any, RN experience other than your clinicals. So like Emily is trying to get a CNA or a nurse apprentice position. I think that kind of experience might put that person above maybe somebody that doesn't have any kind of clinical experience. So it is nice having your clinical rotations on your resumes, especially for rotations that you might have completed with St. Alphonsus or whatever health organization you're applying to, so that they can say, oh, this person's been here. Or if it's a unit that you did a clinical with and you're applying to that unit and they see that, then they can jog their memory and go, oh, that person was great, I'd love to hire them. So I think things like that are things that I look for in candidates.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely second all that Chris said. So, and I think that CNA experience is just invaluable. It gives you a chance to, or any position that's similar, whether it's a patient transporter or a phlebotomist or any of those sort of experiences where you've had a chance to be in a clinical environment. You're already developing your rapport and the way that you interact with patients, and then also the connections that you make.
Yeah. Kate, what do you look for in new RNs?
What do I look for? All sorts of things. Thank you for asking. Like I said, I like to make interviews fun. Nobody likes stiff interviews. Nobody likes to feel like, they have to act a certain way. So it's all sorts of things. It's, commitment to your team, great care for patients, goals, career goals. We love to hear what you want to accomplish, in 1 year. Desire to grow. It's one thing, we have people who are, they're a medical assistant right now and they're working on their nursing degree and they just want to get, their feet wet, get involved, meet the Saltzer community. So like you had said earlier, float positions are popular because it's a great way to get involved with everybody and kind of get a touch for all sorts of things and ultimately find that great fit. Yeah, all sorts of things. I guess personality. We like people who really resonate. They know who they are. They connect with the hiring manager. Don't be afraid to just be yourself. And we know you're new. We know you're excited to get into this industry. We know you worked extremely hard to get here. So just be yourself and kind of demonstrate some of those things during those interviews.
Zach, did you have a question?
No, I was going to say the same thing. I was going to ask Kate what she thought about her, but you beat me to it. So you're all good. Thank you.
I
see a question in. Yeah, I see one from Mackenzie. Mackenzie, are you asking about the critical care residency?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So So for February, so these are two completely different applications. So we'll typically post our graduate nurse portals in January for spring grads, and then we'll post it in August for fall grads. For our critical care nurse residency, like completely different hiring managers. I'm the only recruiter that's doing that one. So our timelines are just a little bit different, mainly because of the start dates as well. I mean, it's a hard start date, whereas the graduate nurse program is really flexible in their start dates. Like you could start for spring grads, June, July, or August. So it's just a little bit different. So for the critical care nurse residency, we start people in February and August. I will post the February start date in November, December prior to, and we'll have a cutoff date just like we do for the graduate nurse program. And then for the August start date, I'll probably post April or May. And again, we'll have another cutoff date for that application to go through. So it's slightly different timing. And one thing with interviews for the critical care nurse residency, they ask some really specific questions because they want to see if you are going to be able to handle being on the critical care units. So they don't have a lot of time to teach a lot of things that they probably expect nurses to show up on the floor ready to do. So things like your sepsis bundle is going to be really important to know. And they look out for certain things. Like I feel like I could go through this interview just because I've been through it already. So like sepsis bundle and knowing like when to escalate to your nurse leadership, stuff like that. So I would just be prepared for maybe a little bit more rigorous questioning.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess I was just wondering more, I would like to know when we will be getting the information for the applications. And then, I know you guys probably don't have a hard date right now as to when they will be turned in. I just kind of want to know when to expect the posting and approximately how much time I'm going to have to finish and turn in my application, resume, cover letter, everything that the critical care residency program is asking for. If that makes sense, more sense, I guess.
Yeah, when is your graduation date?
December of 2021.
Okay. It'll be posted in December of 2021, and you'll have a month to complete it. And then we'll interview, I lied. It'll be posted in November of 2021. You'll have a month to complete it. And then we'll interview later that month in December. For round one. If we need to extend it for like maybe we didn't get enough applications, then we'll extend that into January, but it'll be a hard start mid-February.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Kate, it looks like you have a question in the chat. Does Saltzer have opportunities for anyone who has interest in maternal/child nursing, or does Saltzer mainly focus on acute care?
Hey, awesome question, Katie. We do. We have a midwifery department. We just hired a new provider for our OBGYN department. And then we also have pediatrics. So yes, definitely opportunities. So please reach out if you want to learn more about those. Because I know it's great to hear about all these opportunities. I do want to tell you, Saltzer hires people just as you heard, 130 people in 6 months. So all the time at a fast rate. We're growing like crazy. So please keep in touch with those interests, because like I said, we have a new provider. We're always looking to expand. I actually want to tell you, the video I showed you was our new 10-mile urgent care. That place is open 24/7. There will be other departments in there. So our OB department is in that building as well, along with a brand new ambulatory surgery center. So lots of positions coming up with those. And then I think we have another question, estimated pay rates for bachelor's degrees. Let me see. So definitely comparable within the community. And so one thing actually I'm going to tell you, just to be quite honest, the really great part about merging with IHC or Intermountain Healthcare is we get to reevaluate our pay rates. You know, it's one thing, really we want to be competitive in the community. So we're really excited to do that. You know, I know we all share with St. Al, St. Luke's, whatnot. Ultimately, we just want to provide really great care for all of our patients in the community. And then everybody has the same common competitive goal of getting really great employees on their team. So about same pay rates. And then also, because I know they had their really great shift differentials, same thing. And yes, those are wacky to discuss. I know for us, at least, it's percentages. So it's a percentage based on the pay rate you get for experience and whatnot. Any other questions?
I have a question for you, Kate. Do you guys have specific positions available for new grads?
Not specifically for new grads. The way we look at it, if you have your degree in nursing, you are a nurse. We have openings. We want you in the door. I think one thing we've kind of found is, you know, maybe you guys don't really want to work night shift in an urgent care because that's probably a very stressful situation. So, you know, we put you in opportunities where you can shadow and work with people who have experience. But otherwise, we're just excited to get you in the door and let you use that hands-on experience and continue to grow with people who can help you get there. Any other questions?
I have a question for Chris and Chris for St. Alphonsus. Do you guys have a commitment to the, after the GN residency, do you have a commitment that you want the employee to fulfill after that 1 year?
We just want you to love us and stay, you know, for 20 or 30, 40 years. So, but there's no like hard requirement. You're not compelled to stay in our system. We just hope that you will.
Kate, you have a question in the chat. Does Saltzer have any form of residency or support for new grads?
Yep, absolutely. Definitely support in helping new grads get certifications and whatever else needed to, you know, part of the motivation is helping increase pay rates. So yes, we do.
Any other questions for either St. Al's or Saltzer? This recording will be posted and info on both of these great employers. Zach Bass did put it in the chat. I think it's up there a ways now. But we have a website for all of our employers now, boisestate.edu/nursing/MTE for Meet the Employers. So if you want to come back to this, can't remember what they said, you can watch this video again, and then they have some information about each employer on there. So there you go. He put it down there at the bottom for you if you're interested in checking that out. And then one last call for questions. Anybody have any last ones?
I guess one question I had was, you said for, I guess, Chris and Chris, that you accepted about 60 new grads into your December program. How many apply usually for those positions?
So that can also vary kind of depending. We obviously we have more graduates that come in the spring than in the fall. So, but it can be quite competitive. So I want to say last spring cohort, we had, I would say, close to 175 applicants and probably 60 to 70 positions. So it can be competitive, but apply, definitely apply.
Yeah, and you can apply to our other general postings as well. As a GN, we do recommend that you apply specifically to the residency program, because ultimately, we think that that's going to be the most successful route for you. But if you kind of get through the process and still don't have a spot, then our postings are open to anybody with any kind of experience level. I think the only caveat to that are areas like the ICU, L&D, I believe, probably has a year preferred experience on there. So some of those areas might not accept new grads, but we do have that on our job posting, whether a year of experience or not is preferred.
I'll ask a question based off of what you just said then. Would you suggest that I'm graduating in May 21, so would you suggest that I apply for the GN as well as regular job postings, or do you think wait, find out about GN and then go apply for regular postings?
I'd probably wait and find out, because we're going to do our interview event on March 26th. And then, like Chris said, we were pretty quick about getting the offers out. I think the spring event, we might have some more positions. So I definitely don't want to guarantee that I'll be calling people on Friday night. But, you know, we'll get those answers out to you pretty quickly. And then if for whatever reason you aren't selected for the GN program, then you still have 2 months to start applying to other openings that we do have available. And I think any nurse recruiter in the Valley will tell you that when we get nurses that apply for positions, we're pretty quick about calling them and moving through the process, because we know that your expertise is scarce. So we definitely want to snag you before anybody else does. So I would recommend trying to get into the residency and then applying to other positions if that doesn't work out. We have not done a Meet the Employers event for the critical care residency, but I'd be happy to work with Kelsey and the team to potentially set one of those up.
All right, well, if we don't have any other questions, we do have, I think, both of your contact information, Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, on the website there.
Yeah, no, all the employers are on the website right now. So feel free to go check it out. We highly encourage you to kind of reach out, explore their website, and really see what they have to offer. The recruiters are great. Their names are up on the same page, each of their pages, and they want to hear from you guys. So it's really great. We can do this, event virtually. I wish we could do it in person, but it's still a great way to connect. So I highly encourage you guys to go out there, really look them up, see what they're about, and to reach out to them.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Chris and Kate, for taking the time to talk to our students and for all your support.
Thank you for having us.
Yep. Thank you, guys. It's been really great talking with you.
I love the Chris duo. That's awesome.
Yep. Same.
Easy to remember.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Love it.
Thank you.
You guys.
Thanks. Have a good one.